Joe Biden, you need to come get your boy Bill de Blasio before he fucks everything up for your party in 2022.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, Taking Care of Business. The man who rules the world breaks in a brand new partner to help him take care of business in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get John Haynes, Taking Care of Business at paperback and e-readers at online booksellers everywhere.
This morning, New York Mayor Bill de Blasio made an announcement on a premium cable news show that he was instituting a vaccine mandate for private businesses here in New York City. And under this mandate, which is supposed to take place on December 27th, 4 days before the end of Bill de Blasio's second term, all private businesses are supposed to ensure that all private employees of private businesses are supposed to be vaccinated. Now, this announcement from your Bill de Blasio was a major surprise to everyone, including many business owners in the private sector. Many in the private sector were never consulted by your Bill de Blasio or anyone from the mayor's office, and it seems that this announcement made by Bill de Blasio just came out of nowhere and was basically just something that really shocked practically everyone. Now, your Bill de Blasio says that he's doing this because he wants to get ahead of the Omicron variant, but when I take a critical examination of Bill de Blasio's actions, they are basically those of a beta male who is looking to get brownie points and get maximum attention by pulling a melodramatic stunt in the hopes of getting most people paying attention to him. Because with most beta males, when they feel extremely insecure about their position of power eroding or ending, what they want to do is create a lot of drama by making some sort of shocking action that gets everybody up in their emotions regarding whatever stunt that they're going to pull. And this kind of this announcement from Bill de Blasio is basically a beta male stunt, which is the equivalent of what females do whenever they feel like they're not the center of attention. Your Bill de Blasio, as I see it, is probably extremely jealous of the fact that Eric Adams is becoming the new mayor, and because he knows Eric Adams is becoming the new mayor, he wants to go out and do something to get attention focused on him instead of letting the term end quietly and passively just transitioning power over to the Adams administration. So what he wants to do here is participate in a rug yanking stunt to try to shock people that he's still in power. But when he does this, he shows us how insecure he is about losing the office of the mayor and no longer being the executive branch and controlling the executive branch of New York City. Now, this vaccine mandate, when you take a further analysis of it, is basically unenforceable because it is a mandate created by a previous mayor who is only going to be in office for 4 more days. So this mandate is only a policy created by a previous mayor, and it's not a law. Only laws are enforceable by the city because laws are something created by the mayor and the city council, and they go through a process where they are voted on by representatives of the people and then signed into law by the mayor. So this mandate has any sort of merit whatsoever, and no one, as I see it, needs to follow this mandate because this mandate is not enforceable in any way, shape, or form. A mayor cannot unilaterally go out here and create a policy because in order to create policy, it has to go through the legislative branch of local government, such as the city council. So, your Bill de Blasio's announcement, for all of its drama and pomp and circumstance, means absolutely nothing, and it is basically a beta male showing how insecure he is and looking to try to flex and show how he still has power, even though all he's showing us is how he's afraid of losing said power, because it is practically impossible for a mandate like this to be enforced on over 200,000 small businesses here in New York City. You do not have the manpower to go out here and enforce such a policy in 4 days, and there's no departments that can go out here and enforce such a policy on over 200,000 businesses and millions of people. Basically, it would practically cost billions of dollars to create the bureaucratic infrastructure of inspectors to be able to go out here and implement such a policy, and that would not be very prudent when you consider the state of New York's economic finances at this moment. Now, your New York City, after your Bill de Blasio leaves office and transitions power over to Eric Adams, will be dealing with an $5 to $8 billion deficit, and with it dealing with a deficit and several union contracts coming up, it's not really smart to go out here and spend money on expanding an entire bureaucracy of inspectors to ensure that businesses ensure that all of the employees of private businesses are vaccinated. And it's not even constitutional to even try to implement such a policy, because no mayor can unilaterally say he has control over a private business, according to the New York State Constitution and the United States Constitution, because according to both of those constitutions, a private business has a right to its own autonomy, and nobody has a right in government unilaterally to tell a private business what to do unless it gets legislation passed by the city council. And only when the city council passes a law as related to regulation can a government say something about private business. And private businesses can only say things about things as related to safety codes and code as related to property and taxes, but it cannot really go out here and legislate the health of those employees. No, that was already struck down in several federal cases when Joe Biden tried to pass a federal vaccine mandate, and with the federal interpretation of the law being the law of the land, you cannot pass these type of mandates unilaterally in a local city jurisdiction. Now, the federal judge said that this was an overreach that violated the Constitution, and that was one of the reasons why those judges struck it down in the Biden as related to Biden's mandate. And de Blasio's mandate follows the same type of overreach from the part of the executive branch. And again, this overreach creates a policy that is impossible to implement, because there's no way to enforce such a policy with only 4 days of an administration that is going out. And at your Bill de Blasio, he shows how dysfunctional he is with this kind of policy, and basically he's pulling a melodramatic stunt to get attention for himself in the hopes of becoming New York's next governor. And that shows how completely delusional he is, because your Bill de Blasio's approval rating is in, I say, the low teens at this point, and his run for president was just shut down, and his run for governor would be shut down in the same way because Bill de Blasio's approval rating is basically in the low teens again, and people consider Osama bin Laden more popular than your Bill de Blasio at this point. He is an albatross to the Democratic Party, and the whole thing is that people who follow his policies wind up cratering like your President Joe Biden. Now, your President Joe Biden followed Bill de Blasio and created his own vaccine mandate, and that vaccine mandate is the reason why Joe Biden's approval rating has cratered over the past few months, and he has not been able to get out of the doldrums politically that he's in. Now, your Eric Adams is going to be the new mayor of New York, and my advice to Eric Adams is this: get far away from Bill de Blasio's policies, because if you want to have any sort of chance at getting any sort of high approval ratings in your honeymoon stage, you need to end all of these mandates, because the faster you end these mandates, the higher your approval rating will go, because following Bill de Blasio is going to lead to you cratering just like he is, and cratering just like Joe Biden is doing right now, because everyone who follows Bill de Blasio's policies winds up cratering as related to their approval ratings, and that's not good for Eric Adams, and it's not good for the party right now, because the party is suffering because of the failed leadership of Joe Biden following a failure like Bill de Blasio. And this kind of mandate, this kind of behavior, it is not professional behavior. A politician who is on his way out should be looking to build momentum for the next candidate, especially when the party is in trouble like the Democrats are right now. And he should be looking to try to build a bridge to the people who feel detached and disconnected from a politician who seems to be living in his own world. And your Bill de Blasio basically is living in his own world, and he cannot see how he's hurting the residents of New York City with a policy that, again, is only enforceable for 4 days, because there is no infrastructure that can be established in that timeline. And the timeline that you would need to hire all of those employees to ensure such a policy could be enforced is not plausible with a politician about to leave. So when you do some critical thinking about this announcement, again, this is the type of stuff that beta males love to do. They love to create a lot of attention for themselves because they're insecure about losing their power, and in some ways they are jealous of the next man like Eric Adams getting power. So passively they go out here and create a policy that will aggressively hurt the next person to take office, because if that person like Eric Adams does not know chess, what he will do is go out here and follow the policy of Bill de Blasio, and then he will get checkmated because his approval rating will wind up cratering in the exact same way that Bill de Blasio's approval rating has cratered, and the same way that Joe Biden's approval rating has cratered as well. So if your Eric Adams was a smart man who knew how to play chess, he would reverse every policy as related to these mandates, because these mandates are alienating many New Yorkers from the mayor's office. It's alienating the business community from the mayor's office, and it's alienating all of those voters who in November will be thinking about voting Republican, because if you continue to try to coerce voters to take these jabs with your mandates, they may take the jab, but then they may take your job in November because they feel like they cannot trust you. And many of your leftists, again, don't see the big picture because, again, they are caught up in their feelings like Bill de Blasio and insecure in their feelings about losing power. And because they're insecure about losing power, what they want to do is make one last desperate effort to try to scare people, but you cannot be scared. You have to have a resolve, and that's how you stand up against guys who try to pull shit tests like this, because this is a classic shit test from a beta male with female frames of thinking, and a female frame of thinking wants to see if you'll go along with the shit test and go along with policies from a man who will not even be in office to enforce these kind of policies. So you have to understand how to beat this kind of guy, and you beat this kind of guy by not complying and not going along, and that's how you win the shit test with this kind of beta male. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, and my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And this video is not going to be monetized, so if you could, again, drop a donation to the Cash App, would be greatly appreciated. Or if you could pick up some of my books on the SJS Direct imprint, that would also be greatly appreciated as well. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.